I wanted to be just like you, Shawn. Pretty soon people were saying that I was going to be the next Shawn Michaels. I grew out of wanting to be the next Shawn Michaels, and I concentrated on becoming the first Chris Jericho.
Oh my God, a chair shot right to the face of Shawn Michaels.
You tried to be the hero one too many times, Michaels.
Look how awesome sweet chin music.
I'll see you at WrestleMania.
So it's on HBK, Chris Jericho at WrestleMania.
Welcome to Last Match Standing, the podcast where we review, relive, and rank the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. As always, I'm Spencer.
I'm Glenn Danzig.
And I am the Ayatollah of rock and rolla.
And today, we are coming to you from Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington on March 30th, 2003, WrestleMania 19. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, in his first WrestleMania match in 4 years, versus Chris Jericho.
Five years. Yeah. I didn't even think of it that way.
1998.
Yeah, there you go. First WrestleMania back. How do you like that?
Do you remember the tagline for WrestleMania 19?
5 years.
Dare to dream.
Dare to dream.
Yeah.
That's so fitting for this incredible story.
It's a good story.
It's better than like 23, like I'm growing up.
Ooh, all grown up.
That's so
the year
terrible.
after Big Time.
Yeah.
I totally forgot
I'm all
about
grown up.
I like those
There's
little
something
kid
about
trailers.
seeing like a 5-year-old smash together 2 glasses of milk.
I totally forgot about that.
It's like literally the worst one ever.
I kind
It's so bad.
The-
of liked it, but
the
I'm
only-
going to be shamed, so I'm just going to...
It reminds me of Stephanie McMahon's old theme.
I'm all grown up now, and I'm listening to learn. Yeah.
It's really good. Like that, I miss that one, but I guess she's a little old for it now.
Yeah,
for it to-
welcome to the queendom where
Yeah.
the kings bow down.
Oh, is that
Everybody look now, or something, I don't know. yeah,
Okay.
that's her
Everybody
song
look
now.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know the lyrics of the new one.
Yeah, it's welcome to the queendom.
So
That's terrible.
this match is widely considered one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time, if not one of the greatest wrestling matches, period.
For sure. I would definitely say it's, when you think of WrestleMania show stealers, this one's at the top of the list.
Yeah, and it's got some stiff competition too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been eyeing this one since the very beginning, and I'm kind of happy this one won out.
Yeah, a brutally tough Twitter poll, and
Yeah.
of course, with assist from our patrons, brutally tough. Several really, really good choices, but this one wins, and I think we're all glad that it did, because it's really quite good.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what the original plan was for Jericho at Mania 19?
I do.
You do?
I do. And it actually features someone that was on our episode last week.
It sure does.
As a matter of fact, Mick Foley. No, Lita. No.
Oh, that would have been awesome. I would watch Jericho versus Lita any day.
Sign me up. Well, we see it later. Can we? Like,
Well,
Battle of the
yeah,
Sexes?
actually,
Kind of?
yeah.
There you go.
Actually, well, it was Jericho versus Trish, right?
It was Trish and Lita versus Jericho and Christian
That's
had a
it.
Battle of the Sexes.
That's it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's all connected.
It all makes sense.
Throwback.
But you're right. It was the other person that we didn't mention, and that is oh man, what's the referee's name? Mickey.
I don't remember what he was
Cordera?
terrible.
Was it Mickey?
No,
No.
it's Mickey.
Not
the
Mickey
one that,
James.
the one that counts.
She
slow.
didn't debut till a year later. Oh yeah, I forget the referees. He was
I always
terrible.
want to say Mickey Rourke, but that's definitely
Mickey
not,
Rourke. That
No,
guy.
it was 2009.
not his name. Yeah, but no, it was supposed to be Jericho and Edge.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Jericho and Edge at WrestleMania 19. I'm so curious to see how these two men's careers would have gone had that match taken place.
Well, it did
'Cause-
take place 10 years later.
Right.
But it's
Interestingly enough.
it is interesting to think about, right? Because both of them were kind of at this point in their career where they were on the trajectory up. They were, Jericho had already made it to the top of the mountain, and Edge was being given more and more of a push as he went on. And so, I wish this match would have happened, but I'm really glad it didn't because
We got this instead.
Yeah.
this feud, guys.
Yeah.
it's-
Listen, I want to get there because there's plenty to talk about, but I did want to shout out a couple of things before we get really into it.
Yeah.
The first of which is that we had a really cool message from a Facebook follower of ours, Alistair Edwards, who
Cool
said
name.
to us, yeah, it's very good. He said, the podcast is great, guys, like part of my weekly routine. Great.
Dude.
Awesome.
So nice. What
Thank
a
you,
nice
man.
guy. Alistair, fantastic.
Wholesome name, wholesome message.
There you are. And we approve that. Also, we got some really good feedback because if you remember, was it last week that we released? No, it was 2 weeks ago. I guess we did the WrestleMania 1 on the main pod. We did that tease, and we had a response. Glorious AU on Twitter says, I've seen very few matches from the early Manias, but the misery you guys go through makes Last Mania Standing worth it.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, he's talking about our Patreon exclusive spinoff Last Mania Standing, where we sit through every WrestleMania and we review, relive, and rank them. And what a little known fact about the first few WrestleManias is that they are all 12 hours long.
Yes.
And I think that's verifiable.
And about 11 hours of them are bear hugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either bear hugs or, 40-minute segments with no wrestling in them,
Yeah, and we have
That almost quit the show.
Guy, but no, seriously, they're a lot of fun, and reliving them is a blast because we're able to find some really interesting moments.
No, it's great because we're sitting down and watching them together. When we watched 5 with separately, I wanted to quit the show.
right because you've got nothing. You're just sitting there watching it and you're thinking, what is happening? Like it's 1989 or something.
Yeah. God. There's I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a match on that card that I was like, I'm not writing anything down.
I'm
for
out.
This.
Done.
So
I left the room, went to the bathroom, and came back, and it was still going on.
So
I took no notes.
we review and watch the show, so you don't have to.
yeah, listen, you're welcome in advance. We also do a really cool ranking system there. It's a little bit different than what we do on the regular show, where it's a very scientific method. It's actual fact, and it cannot be argued based off of what our
It's
based off of
it's
our
so
ranking
proven that
system.
we've totally gotten it wrong every single time.
It's great. I can't wait to see how much they really change as we go on. But thanks, Glorious AU, for that. It was really nice.
And also, speaking of Patreon, we have the Patreon exclusive Jeopardy quiz is now on Patreon.
That's right.
Oh, that
Paul
was-
puts his title on the
Yeah,
line.
that was so much fun.
It was really a good time. Hope did an incredible job there. So fun. And you guys will be so surprised if you haven't heard any of our trivia episodes. Hope, you think we do a deep dive into, our matches and the wrestlers that we cover. But Hope does like the deepest dive on the trivia. Man, she will ask some things that listen, there's some of you that know all of it, I'm sure. But the three of us at this table, we think we know wrestling.
I don't know. I feel like there was one question that we did that I don't think anybody's going to get.
Right. Man, if you want to hear Landon less than happy, you want to go listen to these trivia episodes because he loves every second.
I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay, so there you go. Just a little housekeeping to take care of. Don't forget, if you have, if you're new to the show and you have match suggestions that you want to shoot our way, please do that. You can do that on Twitter at LastMatchCast or Facebook the same way. Or you can reach out via email at lastmatchstanding@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. We want to know how you're ranking these matches as we go. Already, episode 28, right? Episode 28, right? We're almost halfway through season 2 already. It's blowing my mind.
It's crazy.
It is completely wild, but so excited to start diving deep into WrestleMania 19 and Michaels and Jericho here.
So the Jericho and Shawn Michaels feud was remembered so well, I believe, because of how real it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's Jericho actually emulated Michaels in his early career. And it's almost like we discussed in our HBK versus Triple H match, right? Shawn's return in 2002 was originally booked as a one-off, but there was one man who was constantly in Shawn's ear about coming back full-time, and that man was Chris Jericho. Because by this time, Jericho, he'd already been to the top of the mountain. Like we were talking about, him and Edge on similar trajectories. He'd been there. He was the first ever undisputed champion.
He beat The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night.
Damn right he did.
I've never heard that before.
And then he took care of Stephanie's dog
What?
and jobbed Triple H at Mania.
Stephanie, wait, what? Stephanie's dog?
He took care of her dog and jobbed.
Is that what they're calling it nowadays?
No.
No, that happened.
He actually
Yeah, that
took
happened.
care of her dog, and then he jobbed clean Triple H 2 pay-per-views in a row.
Yeah, he main evented WrestleMania with Triple H.
And
Yeah,
jobbed.
that's true.
In a match that no one gave a shit about because they just saw The Rock and Steve and Hulk Hogan.
That's an interesting point. It's like, which one of those do you put on last? Like, how do you...
Well, they weren't expecting The Rock and Hogan to get that reaction.
No, not at all.
And you could tell because they're like, the whole time they're like, shit, they love this. Let's just pose. Well, originally, that match was supposed to go very, very differently, but because of the crowd reaction, Hogan and Rock both said, we got to change this right now.
Yeah, and they had a very memorable, legendary match.
Right. Completely agree.
Only if you watch it with the sound on. If you mute the sound, it's not as good as you think.
Oh yeah, it's one of those I think moments, and obviously as it's been 15, 16, 17 years since that match. Things are very different in
Sure.
wrestling now. So
2002.
what was considered something really special then,
It
doesn't hold up in the ring.
It's not bad. It's just one of those. That match is so iconic, memorable because like the entire time the crowd is a fever pitch.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the moment they come out, they are a 10, and they are a 10 literally to the end of it, and then they get a standing ovation afterwards.
And I do think that has a lot to do with perception of how great matches are. Same deal is, in my memory, the best time period of wrestling was when Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler were on commentary, and I don't think there's any mistake. I don't think that's a mistake. I think that's probably has a lot to do with JR and Jerry Lawler on commentary.
Yeah, I think so. Because I mean, how often when we do the show, how often do we reference things that they say? I think,
A lot.
Yeah, I think
Like 9 out of 10.
a lot of the time, and I think that's because we've connected these moments in these classic matches with stories that they're telling, and I think that's a good thing.
And speaking of those two, they are on commentary tonight.
They are, and you know who's the referee in this match? Is a short-haired Charles Robinson.
Okay. We got to talk about his hair. In
Let's
this
talk
match.
about it. I think we need to.
Okay.
Charles Robinson's hair is a very important part of this match.
Well, it's an important part of his career.
Okay, so I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, but he's got like the George Clooney cut in this match, and it doesn't work. He needs to have that center part. His hair is too short. He's got to be glued in that bullshit because it's 2003. He looks like a clone of himself with a haircut. It's terrible. I remember watching it like, is that Charles Robinson? No, he had better hair than that. And it close up, referee Charles Robinson. Like, oh, Charles, what have you done?
What have you done?
I
did you do
think
to your hair?
Collectively, between the three men in this ring, the hair is just something to be marveled at.
It's the most 2003 thing I've seen.
I mean, you've got Charles Robinson with the clone, right? You've got his haircut. You've got
Spartacus haircut,
Shawn Michaels still has the mom cut.
the bob.
It's bad. Chris Jericho has the blonde hair and the worst goatee.
Oh, he's that stupid goatee and a soul patch. Did you notice like his ponytail at the end of it is dyed red?
Yeah, I did notice that.
And I'm like, state of your hair.
Well, and he has like the goatee, and it's thick on Raw,
Right.
And it's thick in the promo package.
No,
but
he basically twisted
braided
He
it.
braided it up. It looks so bad.
It looks so
Oh
stupid.
God.
It just looks so stupid. And so, I mean, listen, if you take anything away from this episode, it's that if we're ranking the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time, this hair should disqualify it.
We're gonna shit over their hair. I'll say Shawn's hair is much better here than it was at Survivor Series.
Oh, yeah, it's grown a little bit. It's grown a little bit.
He's
Survivor
had
Series
about
is like-
5 months to grow it out.
Oh, boy.
All this to say, by the time WrestleMania 19 was rolling around, Chris Jericho is arguably at his prime.
I think so.
But as a lifelong Shawn Michaels fan, he could not pass up the opportunity to prove to himself that he could stand toe-to-toe with his idol. Despite all he had accomplished, he was nothing if he could not beat Mr. WrestleMania.
You know what I think is really good here is that that's such an easy story to tell. It's one that I think, I mean,
It's
People
real.
Play it out all the time in real life. Whether it's something simple like a freshman in high school and there's a senior in high school and you finally play basketball together and you try to beat them, right? Or it's something like this where it happens with athletes all the time. And the thing that wrestling provides us that maybe other sports don't in a lot of instances is the ability to do that, to step into the arena at the same time as your idol. Golf does that sometimes because they can play longer. Baseball does that occasionally.
Yeah.
But the other sports, you retire too young.
Yeah, because
the game's a lot more physical and violent on your body.
Right.
So, it's so cool that we get this. And I think when I think about our list and I think about the stories that are told, I think this one is super compelling and really easy to tell. And the only other match that I think of that's got the super easy story to tell that everyone can relate to is Brett and Owen.
Yeah, the brothers. I think the best metaphor for this match, I'm going to quote Lawler on this one. So, whenever you have a pride of lions and then, you have that one lion that's kind of the head of the pride, and then this young new male lion walks into the pride and kind of says, hey, I'm going to take in charge now. Two things. A pride is run by a matriarch. It's all women.
Well,
so I just wanted to put that out there. But I know what he was trying to say, which was when you have the male lion who's in charge of the pack, not the pride, when you have the younger lion who comes up and it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to challenge you to see if I can lead the pack. And if I win, I'm going to eat your children. That's what he was trying to say, minus the eating of the children part.
Well, and I appreciated the lion metaphor because it's something that Chris Jericho has kind of carried with him throughout his career.
Well, I was going to say it's fair because in Mexico he was Lionheart.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think this match does a really great job of taking the stories of both men's careers up to this point and having this match be the culmination for both of these guys.
I agree. I feel like when Shawn comes to the ring with his confetti shots, okay, we get he does 4 of them, and then the 5th and 6th one don't work, and he's kind of starts crying. That's him losing his smile in '96, and then he fires the last one, '97. That's him posing in Playgirl.
That one shot off real good.
Did. So I feel like it's a metaphor for his career in the '90s. And
I don't think anyone has ever read into that close, but damn, you might be right.
I love that so much. Oh, boy.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, the first one not going off. That's him. That's him getting beaten up in Syracuse in '95. '96 is him losing the smile, and then of course '97 Playgirl and SummerSlam.
But hey, this was HBK's first Mania back.
Yep, 5 years.
And actually, it's funny because
he fires 5 confetti cannons.
Quick corpsing, Spencer.
I'm still laughing. It's still really funny. Oh, boy.
It's funny because the angle Jericho takes to build up for this match is that HBK is old. He's worn down. He can't hang anymore.
He's like 33.
He's 5 years older than Jericho.
Right.
He's like,
that is the really interesting thing is that the whole story
he's in his
is
early 30s here.
The whole story is
Jericho
idolizes Shawn Michaels. But
Jericho is 33.
It's like Shawn is like 37.
Shawn is like 37. So
he's not even that old.
Jericho.
Right. It's very interesting because they do tell the story. You would think that the way they tell the story, Jericho's 21 and Shawn Michaels is 40.
No.
And that's just not.
They're literally
the case.
5 years apart. You've got a man in his early 30s and a man in his late 30s.
But even better is if you look at Jericho now. He's much older than Shawn was going into WrestleMania 19.
Well, yeah, he's
Much
49.
older, yeah.
And he looks like he's Oh, God, I saw great pictures like Chris in I think 2015 or 2016 when he still looked like Chris Jericho, and then him now what happened? And I'm like, he's 49.
But the thing is,
what do you mean? What happened?
the thing is, he's still going strong. He's
almost
still
50.
the most charismatic man to walk into any room he walks into.
He's the youngest AEW champion in history.
He is
That's
the
a
youngest
fact.
AEW
That's a fact,
champion
and
in
it cannot
history.
be
just like I'm the youngest champion in last man standing history.
Well, he's the youngest AEW men's world champion in history.
Yes.
That is true.
Because Rio is 22.
yeah.
Yeah. To that point, though, and just to talk about Chris Jericho and how he's 49 and still doing incredible things, I think we've talked about this, and maybe not on the podcast itself, but we've talked about this in general about how I don't think there's been anyone in the history of the business that's reinvented himself so many times, so successfully, like Jericho has.
Definitely successfully. I mean,
we've obviously seen guys that have come back over and over again in different carnations, but Jericho has been successful in almost all of them.
Oh yeah,
which has been, a testament to him for sure. But when you talk about charisma, you put these two guys in the ring, and there's more than enough charisma to fill a locker room just between the two of them. And Jerry Lawler, or JR says in the beginning, I don't know if he's trying to. I'm so sorry. He says, I don't know if Safeco Field is big enough to hold the egos of these two athletes.
I love that
Jerry
line.
the King Lawler.
Yeah, that's really good.
Well, when it comes to this match, I feel like there are two quotes that sum it up. The first one is, "Was that the original, or was it Memorex?" That's a very dated reference. And the other one is, "I believe that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but not if you can do it better."
Damn,
Really
that tells
good.
the story
And I
of this
feel
match.
like
Really good.
That sums this match up.
It really does.
I will say you can always leave it to Jerry the King Lawler to remind you of what year it is.
I wrote, those are both Lawler quotes too. Damn it, fuck.
Well, the name of the field sort of also kind of, because it's no longer called
Yeah.
Safeco
No,
Field.
it is
This
not.
isn't this AT&T now or something like that?
AT&T
AT&T.
is San Francisco. Where do the Mariners play now? Is it?
Oh hell,
What's it called?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna. Yeah,
I don't
we'll
know,
figure
but
it
didn't
out.
they just go there like last year?
In Seattle?
Yeah.
Is-
No, they
Chase
were
House-
they were in San Francisco last year
Yeah.
for the Rumble, and they were in Houston this year.
So Spencer's going to tell us.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's super important information, and I'm glad and I'm happy to tell you that the Seattle Mariners, of course, and I don't know why we didn't think of this, they play at T-Mobile Park.
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. See, I thought AT&T, but no. It is.
Yeah,
It's
different
T-Mobile
phone
Park.
company.
Yeah. Different phone company. The
Yeah.
pink one.
Pink one. Everyone's always trying to buy them out. Like, no.
Have you been in a T-Mobile store lately?
It is the pinkest.
You walk in and it's like you just got blown into a Kirby. It's like,
was gonna
what
say,
the
like-
hell just happened?
Is this Bret Hart running?
Oh my! Take the joke out of my mouth. I love it.
Pink and black attack,
Yeah,
baby.
that's
Woo!
it.
So this feud started when Jericho declares that he is entering the Royal Rumble.
Oh, I remember this.
And Shawn comes out. Well, okay. Actually, technically, it's Shawn Michaels comes out and tries to fight Triple H.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So he calls out Triple H. Jericho comes into the ring and starts beating him down and saying, "Oh, you're old, whatever." But after this, Jericho declares that he's entering the Rumble. Shawn says, "You know what? If you really want to prove to yourself that you're the best,
You should be number one.
try entering the Rumble at number 1. Because if you don't, I will."
Oh,
So next week on Raw, Vince makes an over-the-top rope challenge. Apparently this one wasn't a battle royal, just by the way, it was a challenge. With the winner getting to choose any number in the Rumble except number 1, because HBK already secured that spot. Of course, Jericho goes on to win the over-the-top rope challenge, which was obviously designed for him,
Oh yeah.
and declares that he will enter at number 2. Because Shawn was right. And if he was going to prove that he really is better than the showstopper, he has to outlast him in the Rumble.
I would like to say
Well, technically he does.
that's true. I would like to say that I actually think this feud, technically, I think you could say starts just a little bit before that.
Okay.
Survivor Series 2002,
Survivor Series.
the Elimination Chamber match. The Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels wins the World Heavyweight Championship in that match. Chris Jericho's in that match as well.
Yes, he
You
is.
know who he gets eliminated by?
Shawn
Shawn Michaels.
Interesting.
To be fair, like half the competitors were eliminated by him.
That's a really good point,
Yeah.
though, because it's Jericho that comes out and interrupts Shawn to kick this whole thing off. So I guess you could say that had been eating at him ever since November.
It makes it feel a little less random.
Sure.
And there's a little there's a bridge that you can build there. For sure.
I love
That's what I think.
I love the breadcrumb.
If I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, so Shawn comes out first. If I remember correctly, Jericho's music hits, but he's behind Shawn and immediately throws him out.
So
Am I correct? Is that this year?
Well, kind of. You're very much close to
Very
it
close.
because you're right. Jericho's music hits, but Jericho doesn't come out. Christian comes out,
Oh, that's right. He comes out and
Yeah.
he's like doing the pose, turns
Yep.
around,
and it's Christian.
and then Jericho's already in the ring and just throws Shawn out
Jericho
immediately.
attacks him.
Well-
he doesn't throw him out immediately, but he hits him with a chair.
He bloodies him up.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
Just kills him.
Yeah, and but Shawn only lasts like 2.5 minutes.
Right.
Like as soon as he comes in the ring, it's like well, that's the blood coming from every orifice.
Is that what oozing blood sounds like?
Yes.
I see. I'm not even looking at Paul, and that's exactly what I got from it. So that's good.
Imagine a geyser of blood coming out of my forehead. I'm talking like mass transit levels of blood.
What did
Oh, boy.
did Undertaker just punch Vince McMahon's forehead again?
He would a few months later.
Sure would.
This is 2003, baby.
That being said, about halfway through the Rumble, Michaels comes out and costs Jericho the match as he's eliminated by test thanks to the HBK distraction.
I thought it was going to be thanks to the steroids, but hey.
Well, that too. Such a great use of the Rumble to build a storyline into Mania.
Boy, do we love that.
It's the best.
Yeah.
You know what? And
That's
you know
what
what?
it's designed for.
It is. And you know what? The other Royal Rumble build that we love so much is Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle. Just 2 years later.
Yeah.
That's a really great one.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one's done really
Oh,
well.
we're never going to talk about that match, guys. Come
Not
on.
at all.
Matt,
That wouldn't possibly end up on this list.
No.
It's not my Twitter background or anything like that.
But
It is.
Jericho may have been the perfect opponent for Shawn for his WrestleMania return match.
I think so.
If for no other reason than the serious threat that Jericho poses thanks to the signature submission, The Walls of Jericho. I mean, coming back from a severe back injury after being thrown into the ring with someone who specializes in torturing his opponent's spine. You know, that's not exactly my idea of an ideal comeback.
No,
No.
it's not. And Jericho actually says after this match, like in interviews later, he says that he thinks that he was the perfect opponent for Shawn for his WrestleMania return match, but he also thinks that Shawn was the perfect opponent for him.
Sure.
At this point in his career, and I don't think he's wrong. I think they feed off of each other very well. And I just wanted to go back to you talked about when Jericho comes out and interrupts Shawn Michaels. Because it's just supposed to be a one-time thing. Like, it's not supposed to be a big deal. But when they go to the back afterwards, the first person Shawn sees is Vince, who's, at Gorilla. And Vince just looks at Shawn and says, did you feel that? Did you feel that? And Shawn says, what? And then this time Chris Jericho's come back, and Jericho says, I think we've got something here. And that's what led them to the WrestleMania match over Edge, because of that moment in the ring where they felt that chemistry, and that's how they get on the road.
I just think
Wow.
it's funny that like Shawn like, wait, felt what? What do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
the
Well, I don't know
fuck,
what
bro?
you're
Well, I mean, hey, he's only had at this point he's had like 4 or 5 matches.
Yeah, and all against Triple H or
Yeah.
the Elimination Chamber. There hasn't been much.
But, I mean, what a perfect point. It's like the stars aligned for Jericho at his prime, HBK at his prime.
Still in there, yeah.
Just for them to be able to have this match on this stage telling this story, it was just the perfect setup.
I think so.
I'm glad that we got it.
And I have some interesting numbers to throw out to you guys. So this is
I like numbers.
Shawn's 10th WrestleMania appearance.
Okay.
It's Jericho's 4th, which is ironic because it's Shawn Michaels' 4th appearance in the podcast. Jericho's 1st, but if you take 10 plus 4 is 14. Okay, 14, 2 men. 14 times 2 is 28, episode 28.
How the hell did you do that?
No other match we could have done where these numbers align.
The numbers don't lie.
I say, as Steiner once said, the numbers don't lie.
Paul.
You know what? You're just
know
just
how
not,
you did that.
You're just not wrong. You're just not wrong.
I wrote the numbers down.
I would like someone to tell me he's wrong, because
I'm
Someone put that on a T-shirt. Like,
there are two very big things when Jericho is and Shawn are making their entrances down in the ring here for WrestleMania, and it's 2 lines that the commentators say, and Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross, and one of them is talking about Shawn, and it says he has always been a showstopper, but this match could be a show stealer.
It was.
it is.
And it was. The other one is Jerry Lawler asked about WrestleMania the movie.
Yeah, it's like,
Are they
tell
filming
me,
WrestleMania the
all
movie?
these Hollywood cameras, are they filming WrestleMania the movie? And then JR just doesn't.
Nothing.
Nothing. There's like 3 seconds of silence, and then Shawn Michaels comes out.
Was there WrestleMania the movie?
Was
don't
there
know.
one? Well, I mean, we got WrestleMania 21. That was kind of.
WrestleMania 37 is going to be in Hollywood.
I'm excited.
Well,
Yeah.
I know they were like filming for. They always like film documentary stuff.
Sure, yeah.
If you watch, I know Shawn had documentary. I think they're doing a documentary about Shawn's return.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Because if you watch like Heartbreak and Triumph, there's a lot of backstage footage from they put stuff from all this stuff, but there's a lot of backstage footage, a lot of interviews by both of them about this match.
Well, speaking about things going on backstage at WrestleMania 19, did you guys catch the segment that happened before this?
Yeah.
Spencer remembers.
First of all, I didn't until I rewatched this match and the preceding segment, and it's not good.
It's Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler, and the Miller Lite girls.
Oh, the Miller Lite Catfight girls.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, those are different
Branding.
things.
Well, yeah, that rhymes. I guess it had to be the Miller Lite Catfight girls.
Right.
They're arguing over who started WrestleMania.
Vince McMahon
or Hulk Hogan.
Listen,
Hulk Hogan.
Vince McMahon.
Hulk Hogan.
Vince McMahon.
Hulk Hogan.
That's what she says.
Vince
over and over.
McMahon started WrestleMania after he booked the super card. So Vince did. Hogan main evented it with 5 other people.
A hugely cringe-worthy segment.
It's bad.
I think it would have been cringe. I say that. I think it would have been
is-
cringeworthy for me then, but in 2020 eyes, it's
This,
oh boy.
No, this is like porn parody acting here. It's bad.
Yeah.
And we're only 15 episodes away from it on the Patreon exclusive Last Mania Standing.
So
by
if
the
you
time
want
we
to
get
see what
there-
we rate it, boy, you'll be in for a fun one. I'm going to give it a 10 probably.
I'll give it a -10.
Lose points. That's a valid question. I think.
Yeah, you asked me earlier, like, are we going to do negative points? I'm like, you got to tune in to find out. We just might.
But speaking of WrestleMania 19, seriously,
Yeah.
that set was
Love it.
so perfect.
It is.
Really good.
It's simplistic, but it still has that WrestleMania feel.
Yeah. Oh, it's good.
Was this like a semi-outdoor venue?
Yeah.
Because part of it
It's a
was
baseball field.
open,
Yeah.
but it was still covered.
And I love the curved ramp. You know, they have to take
I do
that
too.
turn.
Yeah,
I was
I
going to
love
say,
it.
Safeco Field has a retractable roof.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
A lot of those baseball stadiums, especially out west, have them because, especially in Seattle where it rains every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like down here.
Good point.
They would never play any
never gonna
games if they didn't.
Football, they don't care, but baseball, if
Yeah.
it's raining like they can't play.
Shawn Michaels has the best entrance gear.
This is like the same kind of stuff he was wearing in like 97.
It's just the best. And you know, when he came out, I was kind of having flashbacks to the WrestleMania 19 video game on GameCube.
Oh
Ooh.
boy.
It was an interesting time for wrestling video gaming, right? Xbox, PlayStation 2, and GameCube all had different games. You remember this?
Yes, I do remember this.
PlayStation had the SmackDown series, Xbox had the Raw games, and GameCube was all kind of different stuff. They had-
I feel like
Backstage assaults.
yeah, well,
this.
it was like the WrestleMania 18, WrestleMania 19, and then they were like, "Oh, that's not working. How about Day of Reckoning?"
I loved Day of Reckoning,
I did
Day
too.
of Reckoning 2. Those games were badass. Randy Orton was so good on those games. That's all I remember.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Man, loved those a whole lot. I think I played the Raw Xbox game once in my whole life, probably.
The first one's okay. The second one was pretty good.
Yeah.
And
I
then
don't know.
they just like, let's just make SmackDown versus Raw. Every platform.
Hey.
But I don't know. See, SmackDown Shut Your Mouth is probably my favorite wrestling game of all time.
It might
It's
be.
between that and like No Mercy on 64.
SmackDown Here Comes the Pain is
Yeah,
my
that was pretty
personal
good.
favorite.
You could jump off a helicopter in that one.
Ooh, in Times Square. Oh, yeah.
Also, you could make Goku. They had his hair. They
did have his hair.
They had his hair like both like Super Saiyan and non Super Saiyan.
And I think
I may have made him.
there was one point where I could have sworn they had like Liger's mask.
Liger's mask is in every single game.
It is.
You can make Liger literally in any of those SmackDown games, and you could do his moveset, but you can't find his name.
Boy. I would right now sit down. I've actually considered getting another PlayStation 2. I know PS5 is supposed to be backwards compatible, whatever. But
Supposed to be.
just playing SmackDown Here Comes the Pain.
You know what? If that is something that sounds interesting to you listeners and you want us to do that, maybe we'll find a way to make that happen. We'll put it on our YouTube channel. We'll
for sure. That would
just
be
us
easy to do.
goofing around on the classic wrestling games.
Yeah, we
I'll
would have
probably
fun.
win, but
Oh, okay.
I was so good at Here Comes the Pain. Just saying.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I mean I say that with no shame.
Did you play as Brock Lesnar every time and just German suplex people 3 times in a row and then pin for the win?
No.
That's 2K20. I don't think they gave him that move in those older
He
days.
was pretty OP in Here Comes the Pain. He was the strongest guy, maybe other than The Rock, because I remember pretty
The
much
Rock
if
was
you were
good.
up against The Rock and you took a rock bottom, you lose. That's essentially the way that
every
game worked.
though.
You know, I think
No one kicks out of the rock bottom.
what we should do is get that game, have a triple threat match, and I'll be American badass Undertaker.
Big Evil.
Yeah, I'll be
Booker
Big
Red.
Evil. Landon, you can be, I don't know, Roddy Piper. And Paul, Jimmy Snuka.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's who he deserves to be.
Oh, I got a funny story about that.
Oh no.
No, you don't. Moving on.
We had some more Twitter interactions about that, and I had to pull the curtain back a little bit. We had to cut some jokes out of the last episode.
Oh boy. I sorry, I set it back up for you because it's just too good.
I did love though, as we talked about before, the classic misfire of the third confetti gun. Like it's literally
The third
boom,
and the fourth.
boom, misfire, shrug, boom.
I don't know. Misfire.
He like begs for the last one.
Last
Jordan.
one, please. Bam. Yeah.
See, I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually didn't catch the crying. I saw the misfire, and then
Well,
he
no,
looked at the camera and he shrugged.
Yeah,
Then
that's what I
he
got.
goes to the other side, won't fire. He's like,
Oh, okay.
Close it down.
it's pretty funny. But actually, when this is happening, when they flash to Jericho in the ring, Jericho flips Michaels off while this is happening.
Yeah, because he's like, what are you doing? Come on, let's fight.
So yeah, it was probably not intentional misfire, but the comedic timing from HBK is just flawless.
Yeah, and he does that thing where he still does this when he comes down to the ring, where he
Pretends
acts
he's
like
out of breath.
Yeah, pretends he's out of breath when he gets in the ring. You're like, like old. It's been, and it kind of it still makes me.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it still makes me chuckle.
I mean, it's a long ramp.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. He's only like 36 years old here. That's a long way to go.
And early on, a deep arm drag takedown from Jericho kind of sets the tone. It shows that Jericho is taking this match very seriously. He isn't trying to play to the crowd or intimidate Michaels by playing like it's cocky character that we've known him to be. He takes HBK to the mat and shows him he means business. And you know what? Michaels is game.
Well,
Hang on. He is game,
You're-
but he
you
immediately
going where I'm
goes
going?
he goes in the corner.
Yeah, and he goes,
like a lawn chair, like laying down, like you can't beat me.
yeah, he lays on the top rope, and you're right. Jericho is very serious, and he's ready to game one. But Michaels is like,
No.
boy,
Don't sweat you.
come on.
Yeah, pretty
just
much
like that.
Lily, like kind of, hey, I'm gonna bring it down a peg or two.
Yeah, but then once Michaels, does get in there, they do go back and forth, and it's really good to start.
I think my favorite moment is because for the most part, it's like headlocks, arm drags, hip tosses. It's wrestling, which is really funny because King's like, I just came out here and they started trying to out wrestle each other. Why does that sound strange to you, King? I just haven't seen it in a long time. Like,
he does say that.
and I'm like, oh, we are in ruthless aggression era, aren't we?
Yeah.
Every
not
match
a lot
started
of
with
that.
trading blows. Like, oh, they're actually just wrestling. I haven't seen that in a long time. There, they are.
But in the video package that Jericho shows on Raw, that he does this thing where he's just like, I've emulated you ever since I first started. I did all the same moves as you, and he shows this like a side by side thing, and he shows Shawn doing a move, and then immediately shows Jericho doing that same move in his early career. Mm-hmm. And in this match, very early on, Shawn hits the crossbody off the top rope and gets rolled through into a pin.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the segments that they showed in the side by side. I mean, just a wonderful, beautiful, continuous storytelling.
I just there's one moment in this match that really is like, okay, that's the moment where, because we mentioned how Jericho's very, very serious and Shawn is kind of like, stupid kid, you can't beat me. There's a beautiful moment where Shawn's going to go do leapfrogs. Shawn leaps over Chris. Chris comes back to leap over, stops, slaps the shit out of Shawn.
Yeah.
And he goes from the to the, all right, that's how it's going to be. He literally has blood coming out of his mouth after he slaps him. And you can literally see him, says, that's how it's going to be.
Well, this is when Jericho starts to focus on Michael's back, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get walls of Jericho, backbreakers, and even more subtle things like the rear chin lock with the knee placement.
Yep.
perfectly on Michaels' spine.
Another segment I absolutely love.
And after this, Jericho lifts up Michaels for a suplex, which, I mean, you got to think, at this point, after so much damage has been done to your back, a suplex is going to hurt like hell.
Especially I'm going to say delayed. It's not that much delay, but very similar to what we saw in the match with John Cena, where he kind of like holds him almost horizontal and then just kind of muscles him over.
Well, but he doesn't muscle him all the way over because Michaels is able to roll forward for an inside DDT.
Yeah.
And it looks really good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It was really good.
Then I think one of my favorite moments in this entire match is Shawn throws Jericho over the top rope. He's going to go for a tope. Jericho like rolls back to the announce table, and he's like, "Ha outsmarted you." And he turns around and hits a baseball slide.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you see this kind of cat and mouse game being played
Beautiful.
Every time Jericho tries to take the upper hand, Michaels has the answer. He's consistently outsmarting the younger player here. Like he's just Jericho's trying to. This is the story they're telling. Jericho's trying to make it up to Shawn Michaels' level and surpass his idol, and he's just not getting it done.
No.
It adds a layer of storytelling to this already fantastic technical masterpiece that's going on. It elevates the performance to the next level.
Oh, I agree. But you're absolutely right. This is like literally the moment where Jericho says, "All right, fine, I'm going to kill your back."
Yeah.
And Shawn responds with a figure four leg lock.
Which is just good. I just like the figure four, just in general. So it was, and so once Jericho gets momentum for Michaels to kind of put the brakes on Jericho's momentum with the figure four was good, and I liked it. And Shawn,
oh, it's great.
And they play back and forth off each other so well. Jericho tries to throw Shawn over the top rope, like out of the ring. Shawn catches it, and he goes to skin the cat, as Shawn Michaels does, right? But Jericho's there, so he actually pulls Jericho over with the head scissors and then skins the cat and immediately dives outside the ring on top of Jericho and hits
Insane.
It's so good, and it happened so quickly. I just really, it's just, there's that mind game that's happening there at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
It's really, really cool to watch.
And I know a lot of people to this day refuse to admit how good Shawn is. But when you watch matches like this, you're like, yeah, there's a reason why he's considered to be one of the greatest of all time.
There's a reason this is the fourth Shawn Michaels match on this podcast.
Yeah, and it's not the last one that's going to be on there either. I can think of at least 3 more off the top of my head that will definitely make this list.
I love the moment where Jericho hits a flying forearm and then does the kip up.
Kips up, does the pose.
But while showboating, Michaels kips up and gives him the receipt forearm kip up.
Yeah.
What I love, though, is whenever Jericho kips up, he has to press his hands down to get that little boost. Shawn doesn't do that.
Nope.
Shawn is able to do it without using his hands. It's like, who's more athletic, brother?
This moment happens after Jericho's put the walls on outside the ring.
He reversed a drop kick into the walls. I'm like,
on the outside, right? Jericho does a great springboard triangle drop kick to Michaels, who gets thrown back on the outside. But then something really good happens, and it's right before the forearm spot that you're talking about. Jericho has Michaels on the mat, and Jericho is just looking at Michaels and saying, "I'm better than you.
I'm better than you.
And this is when
I'm better than you."
Exactly. And JR
Who's
says,
he trying to convince?
I don't know if he's trying to convince Shawn Michaels or himself.
Yeah.
But I love it because on the outside, and he breaks the hold, runs to the ring, gets him right on the face. "You're not going to count me out. You're not going to count me out. I'm going to beat him because I'm better." And then he rolls back out, and they start brawling again.
We do get a Michaels moonsault after the forearm.
So good. Another one of those moves that they show in the package.
Yeah.
Where Shawn Michaels does the moonsault and Jericho also uses the moonsault to emulate him. And Jericho, sort of has taken his own tweak on it with the lion salt, and we actually do see the bulldog to set up the lion salt in this match. Which it was really nice seeing that. Because guess what? I haven't seen that in a long time.
He still does it.
Well, that's the thing, though. He doesn't very often anymore, because one of the greatest things about Chris Jericho, it makes him one of the best wrestlers of all time, is you're guaranteed that Jericho will never look the same as he did 12 months before.
Pretty
He's
much.
constantly reinventing himself. He's constantly evolving. This includes his in-ring style. Look at his work in Japan. And then watch this match. And then go watch his 2007 run with the introduction of the Codebreaker. And then watch his work with Kevin Owens. And then look at him now. He's totally different in every phase. Honestly, every year, every single year, every 12 months, he reinvents himself. It's crazy.
There's nobody like him.
Nobody. He's not even like himself 3 years prior.
Right.
Pretty much.
It's crazy.
I mean, like 2 years later, he's unrecognizable.
And he can deliver one hell of a Northern Light suplex.
Yes, he
boy.
can, but I'm so glad you mentioned that because I cannot remember the last time I saw this sequence. Northern Lights suplex, bridge pin, and then Shawn powers out into a backslide. When's the last time you saw that?
It was gorgeous.
It's been a while.
And
But that's a
every time
great
I see it,
sequence.
I'm just like, good Lord, the amount of core strength on both of these men to do that, because that is not easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Another move that kind of took my breath away was the double underhook backbreaker.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
And you know what that leads to is Jericho going to the top rope, and he does a diving reverse elbow to Shawn Michaels, almost like Shawn Michaels does his diving elbow drop, right? So Jericho hits this
When he
reverse
does
elbow.
the cocky pin, I'm
Yeah.
like, you're not going to beat him with that, Chris.
I do love Chris Jericho's cocky pin.
Yes, every time. Every time. It's only better when he yells, "I'm the king of the world," when he does it.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's great.
I love this because as this is going on, he like does the fucking pose. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Shawn like kind of gets back up and then like just big back body drop immediately, and he does the inverted atomic drop. I'm like, okay, moonsault. I'm like, here we go. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Oh no, the lion salt. Oh, okay. Aw.
It stifles it. But
Oh, yeah.
but it tells you the story how well they know, or how well Chris Jericho definitely knows Shawn Michaels.
They're both able to cut each other off because they
Yeah.
like King even says it at one point. If these two are basically the same guy, then they both know what the next one's going to do. And
Yes.
he's right because they keep cutting each other off, and that is never done quite as well as whenever Shawn don't know why he's going for Hurricane Rana, but immediately turning into the walls.
Yeah.
Immediately. Like, what were you thinking? It's the second time you've had a move reversed into this.
Mm-hmm.
Center of the ring. And I'm like, oh, man, here we go. I love this because so he gets the ropes. So Jericho's like, all right, fine, I'll break. Goes for it again. Inside cradle pin. Like, there we go. Aha. See? It's that crafty old veteran knows how to reverse anything. And I love this because he does it again. And this time, Shawn's getting the ropes. Jericho, drags him back to the middle of that ring and then sits down and gets deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
That's how it's done.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I like that he didn't just start off with it that way. It's sort of the walls just kind of evolve as the match goes on.
Yeah,
and it's like whenever he hits peak desperation, he's like, I need to sink this in seriously.
Well, like when Jericho will do it, he'll do like, the old lion tamer where you're basically like turned sideways. But when he's like, no, fuck you, he will like just sit on your lower back and just lean into it as hard as he can. And I'm like, if you have a surgically repaired lower back, that's going to hurt.
I honestly think the lion tamer looks more brutal when he's got one
It
knee,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
ugh,
do you know why he doesn't do the
neck's bending.
Do you know why he doesn't do the lion tamer anymore?
It hurts like hell.
No, his feud with Kane.
What happened in his feud with Kane?
Kane was too big to put in the move.
Oh.
So he figured, well, if I just do a traditional Boston Crab, I
Right.
can do it to anyone, and it'll look the same every time. He'll break out the lion tamer, like when he feud with Daniel Bryan, he used the lion tamer.
Okay, I got you. Because, when he started doing that move, I suppose, is whenever he was doing his junior heavyweight run.
Yeah, where the guys were
Yeah.
as same size or smaller than him, where he could do
Right.
it. But once you start wrestling guys like Kane, you
Makes
can't.
sense.
He's too big. He's double his size.
Makes sense.
But I love because he broke out the lion tamer in the Daniel Bryan feud, and he was like, oh, he's in the lion tamer. He broke it out when him and Kevin were feuding, and once again, it's like, he never does this. He broke it out in Japan.
Yeah.
Like he only did that. He did not. He did the lion tamer in Japan, and he broke it out in the Full Gear match with Cody, and it was like, all right, that's it. And that's whenever MJF throws in the towel, and you're like, well, he has to because Cody's got a massive cut above his eye and is losing a lot of blood, and now he's in
That
the
match.
fucking lion tamer.
That's a great match. There's a point, though, where he reaches, like I was mentioning, peak desperation, and Jericho is begging Charles Robinson to say that Michaels tapped out. He's like, no, he tapped out. I'm telling you, you've got to say he tapped out. It's so good.
And what does he do? Does a reverse top rope elbow, and then he tunes with the band.
He does. And while Michaels is getting up, Jericho's shooting up the band, and everybody's like, no. Like
Surely he's not going to hit this.
And then he adds his own little flair with a little the stutter step,
Oh, he does do the stutter step.
which is great.
It looks good.
Which is great. And then, shocking the hell out of me,
He fucking nails
he
it.
hits it. He hits that sweet chin music,
And that's
right?
when we get the imitation, the sincerest form of flattery, but not if you can do it better.
Yeah, so good and unexpected, right? Shawn Michaels kicks out, and Jericho then tries to hit Michaels with a back suplex off the top rope, which Michaels reverses.
It's like a face buster.
Yeah,
Lands
Like,
on
quote
his
unquote
face.
cross body, but it is. His body lands on.
He
Jericho's
lands
face.
on his face, and Jericho is bleeding.
Yeah, it definitely happened. You can
notice,
see it.
You can see the blood on Shawn's arm. Jericho keeps like rubbing his mouth. He's busted.
It was not a nice landing.
No, it's
it
not
wasn't.
pretty at all.
But Michaels gets the momentum now, right? And he's on the comeback, and he goes up to the top rope to get the elbow drop, the patent elbow that everyone's waiting for, and Jericho pushes Charles Robinson into the ropes.
That no good son of a bitch.
And King says something here. He says, "You have to admit, there was a day when Shawn Michaels would have done that exact same thing."
Yeah.
And he's absolutely
97,
right.
Shawn would
Wow. What I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
But what a really great thread to tie in here, in that you can almost see Chris Jericho as the old Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And so you're almost watching the early 90s Shawn Michaels, early to mid 90s Shawn Michaels versus the present day Shawn Michaels.
Pretty much. What I really loved is whenever Shawn finally does hit that patented elbow, and he starts tuning the original band up.
Oh no.
He tunes that band up, but when he goes for that kick, nope, Walls Jericho, fuck you.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. But not before King says, "And it ain't Limp Bizkit, it's Shawn Michaels with his own sweet."
He's tuning up the
yeah.
band,
But-
and it ain't Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, they're on after this. But Jericho gets
boy.
this. Shawn gets the ropes, and this is whenever Jericho is just begging Charles to say he tapped out.
He can't believe it.
And then we get a jump scare sweet chin music.
Yeah, man.
The camera work is perfect because just zooms and bam, like oh shit.
Walks right into it. It's awesome.
Is he dead?
It's awesome.
And I'm like, it's one of those like Shawn hits him and just kind of like we said with the Triple H match, just kind of falls on to Jericho. Kick out. Oh, and then I'm surprised it took like 12 minutes for Shawn to do this. I'm sorry, 18 minutes to do this. The flipped upside down in the corner.
Yeah, there it is.
I'm surprised he
There
waited
it
that
is.
long to do it because he loves breaking this out. He waits till the end of the match to do it.
Yep. Flips upside down the turnbuckle. He falls back into Jericho, who tries to do a back suplex.
Nope.
No thanks.
Victory roll.
There it is.
Scores pinfall 22-34.
So, okay, was this actually a victory roll? Because
Sort
it's
of.
it was like a reverse jackknife. I mean, it looked very good.
No,
Yeah, it was
he it's similar to a victory roll. It's like because he got picked up for the back suplex and then he like spins around, rolls forward, and then he has Jericho's legs trapped.
Well, yeah, he uses his legs to hook the arms of Jericho and rolls backwards.
Yeah,
It looked really good.
he basically gave himself a Canadian destroyer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but he gets the pin and like.
How do we feel about the roll-up win for this match on this stage?
But it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think, especially with the way things happened immediately following the bell,
Well, I mean, kind of
I was pretty okay with it.
Kind of bookends the feud he had with Triple H, where how did he beat Triple H at SummerSlam?
with the roll-up.
Roll up.
Yeah.
Whenever Shawn doesn't think he can put you away, he'll resort to stuff like this. He'll use those tricks of the trade. It works.
And it's so easy to sell the heart of Shawn Michaels, right, when he's not getting dominating wins, because he's sneaking in these incredible, instantaneous victories.
Yeah, it's like because he can turn any momentum. Shawn will turn it into a pin that you're not going to break.
Exactly. And
He knows how to do
Shawn
it.
is kind of forced into playing that role
Yeah.
because he's typically the smallest guy in the ring.
Yeah, but him and
Anytime he's in
Jericho
there.
are roughly the same size.
Right.
Right. But it makes sense for Shawn's career as a whole to win matches with a roll-up.
Yeah, because he can.
And this is the story that they tell. Shawn is the better man. Chris Jericho was not able to.
He out-wrestled him,
Yeah,
ultimately,
he did.
at the end of the day.
I mean, they wrestle each other at various stages of this match, but at the end of the day, it was like Jericho was so blinded by his pride and his need to be better that he just didn't see this. This is what Shawn does. Shawn wins a lot of matches like this.
That's a great point.
Just that he gets the roll up, he gets this pin out of nowhere, and you can't break it in time. That's what he does. He was so blinded by his desire to prove he was better that Shawn saw an opening, and he took it, and he beat him. And this is my favorite post-match sequence in the history of professional wrestling.
The hug after is really good.
Well, no, not just the hug, just like the way Shawn's like, I did it. Hey, guys, I still got it.
WrestleMania is back.
And you just see Jericho in the corner just like, no.
Shocked. Totally shocked.
No, I kicked out. I kicked out. No. He doesn't get the referee face at the whole one. He's like, I thought I had him. And it gets up, tears in his eyes, the hug.
Yeah,
the hug is good.
Sean's looking at him, and you can see Shawn say, awesome. That's the word he mouths to Jericho.
And
awesome.
you could hear JR going, that's what it's all about, folks, right there. That's what it's about. Without missing a beat, Jericho kicks him in the balls.
And I was infuriated. I was so pissed when I saw this for the first time.
Well, so was JR.
Oh, he's
that son of a bitch. How dare you?
That's damn sure sad by Chris Jericho.
It's a really, really good moment, Paul, to your point. As a post-match segment, because I think, and it does lend itself to the finish that we had. Because had we had a Sweet Chin Music for the win, I don't think we get this post-match
You know what the
segment.
best part about this is? Jericho caught an audible.
Seriously?
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to do that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He did it because he was getting a babyface reaction.
But what?
What a genius.
I mean, again, it speaks to how
he's
incredible
sitting
Chris
there like
Jericho.
crying, like, you're my hero. I almost had it. And Shawn's like, oh, come on, kid. You're okay. Like giving him like the whole, you almost had me. You almost had me. But I'm smarter than you. They're both getting this big babyface reaction. And he's like, I'm going to kick in the balls. And Shawn's like, do it.
Not only does this talk to you about how Chris Jericho, like as a person, as a human, is just smart and just gets it right.
Well, because if he doesn't do that next night, he's turning babyface. I don't care what
Right.
anybody says because he had this very valiant babyface like match. He didn't really do that much heel stuff in this match. He does a little bit, but for the most part, like this is two valiant baby faces trying to overcome the other one.
But it speaks to me the character Chris Jericho.
Yeah. And
Right.
that's just he understands the business. Whether you like him or not, you have to admit he is a very smart man. He knows how this business works.
Yeah.
And he knew if he wanted to get heel heat, he had to do this.
So I had a question, and I'll pose it to you guys, and I was thinking about this. Is this the last WrestleMania match that Shawn Michaels wins that he's not supposed to win? You know what I mean? Like when I think about Shawn Michaels and the WrestleManias in the second half of his career.
Yeah.
I think WrestleMania 22, he beats Vince McMahon because he's not going to lose
it's
that
Vince
match.
McMahon.
Right. And then WrestleMania 24, he beats Ric Flair because he's retiring.
Yeah. But like 20, he loses. 21, he loses. 23, he loses. And then 25 and 26. So, yeah, I think so.
Isn't that interesting?
It's incredible. Because you think all of those matches are main event caliber showstopper matches.
That
but
one match of the year.
Right. All just about all of
PWI.
it.
Yeah.
He got the PWI match of the year from 04 to 2010.
Interesting.
And doesn't win any of them.
Interesting.
I mean, I just don't know of anyone else. And tell me if I'm wrong. And this is not, I'm not trying to I've never made a secret about how much I like Shawn Michaels. But this isn't me trying to put him on a pedestal or anything. But can you guys think of anybody else that lost more big matches and it never mattered?
Well, the thing about
Not
Shawn
really.
Michaels is he is so good because he's able to make the person standing across the ring from him look that much better.
Right.
That's why if you are a professional wrestler, you want to have a match against Shawn Michaels because you're going to come out of that match,
Better.
win, lose, or draw, better and looking like gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he did.
And whenever he's put in these matches up against people who are equally as talented, like a Chris Jericho, like a Kurt Angle, like a Triple H, it's just, it's magic.
It is. I mean, it is, and that's why Shawn's on the list already. What did we say? 4 times already?
This is his
four?
fourth appearance,
and Jericho.
not including the Royal Rumble match.
Well, on a card that's absolutely stacked.
This is
right?
the match of the night.
This is the match. This is it's stacked full of 5-star matches. You've got Rock Austin 3, Lesnar Angle, Y2J, and HBK stands out as the most intelligent masterpiece of WrestleMania 19.
I feel like it's a fair statement.
Yeah, completely agree. Favorite moments.
Well, I already mentioned all of them.
Yeah,
God, the trading forearms.
Really liked
the
it.
trading forearm kip-ups
really liked
was
it.
a really, really wonderful moment. Anything that helped carry the story of Y2J emulating HBK.
I love Jericho hitting the Sweet Chin music.
Yeah,
I did
think
too.
it's great. I think it's just fantastic.
that's what this match was all about.
I mean, it's the longest match of the night, and it's the best one on the card.
Which is crazy. The longest match at a WrestleMania is 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange to think. I don't know if that's ever happened
Well,
before. or since.
the runtime of WrestleMania 19 is only 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah,
That's going to be a smooth 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Right.
no kidding. Because WrestleMania 19 has some bangers, like we
Yeah,
were
it
just talking
does.
about.
Right.
really
the cat
does.
fight.
Oh, God.
What? I guess we have to rank it now,
We do have to rank it.
and that's a fun thing that we like to do. It's never challenging.
Well,
It's
Why-
always easy.
Why have we done this to ourselves? Whose idea was this?
Well, I believe I seem to remember getting a phone call
Yes, oh,
around
stop.
about May 5th last year.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, I got a great idea for a podcast. We're gonna
torture each other
for an
hour and a half.
We're gonna review and rank the greatest wrestling matches of all time. Len, that's a fantastic idea. I love it. Let's do it.
Sorry, guys.
Here we are, nearly a year later, and I'm like, oh,
I
shit.
just got the death glare from Spencer.
because I'm looking at this list, and this is tough. This one's tough.
Yeah.
This is the 28th entry on our list. Man.
Let's just put it at number 1 and leave.
See you guys later.
Well,
Number 1 and number 3, Shawn Michaels.
here's the thing. I don't think this is going to be top 5 material.
Okay.
I love
I
it.
agree.
I just don't see it as top 5. However, I feel like I would be doing a disservice to it if I didn't put it above John Cena and Shawn Michaels. It's a third the length, tells a very compelling story, but there are no commercial breaks. There's no Mike Adamle, and
I think that's a really interesting argument, is to put it at number 9. Or it would be number 10.
It would be 10.
I would put it above the John Cena match for a couple different reasons. The main one being a third of the match is not interrupted because of commercials. We get a clear start and finish. There is no, we'll be right back, folks. Here we go. What happened? I don't know, but for some reason they're on top of the, I really wish, I don't understand why, because the cameras don't stop running. I don't understand why on the Raw repeats on the network, for instance, they don't just, because they used to do this all the time when you'd watch the Raw DVDs, they would put in what happens during the commercial break. There's just no commentary. And I don't understand why they can't do that, because I know they have the footage, because those cameras do not stop rolling.
Right.
Because they're always showing us, here's what you missed during the commercial break. And it's like 30 seconds of a 4-minute spot. But just for the sheer fact that I feel like the feud was way more personal. It wasn't like I feel like the Cena Michaels, which was not supposed to happen, as we know, that was like this old timer who's only 42 still has some tricks up his sleeve. How you gonna beat me? Whereas here it's like, I'm still in my prime. I'm gonna beat you.
So I agree with where on the list you're putting it, but I disagree that it goes over Cena Michaels.
Okay.
I think it goes right underneath Cena Michaels at number 11
And right above Tully and Blanchard.
and right above
Tully
Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA.
Tully and Magnum. I almost said Terry. I'm like, yeah, Terry and Tully.
And I think it's because, just complete honesty, a roll-up finish doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
Over the absolute war that they had. They went almost an hour on Monday Night Raw.
Did go an hour.
They did
it's
go
just,
an hour.
We only get to see 45 minutes of it because
Right.
of fucking commercial breaks.
Right. And it's just that shit doesn't happen.
No, it
they're
doesn't.
able to put on an absolutely over the top performance that will be forever remembered. And not to say that this match won't be remembered for a long time.
You know something? Jericho cited that match as the reason why he got back into wrestling.
The 2007 Raw match.
He saw the Broadway. He's like, well, shit, I need to come back.
It's a master class. It's a master class in professional wrestling from start to finish in a lot of different ways, and I think that match achieves more than the WrestleMania 19 match.
Okay.
Well, when we ranked that match, we said this will be the standard bearer.
It will.
for the top
Pretty
10.
much.
You know, like it's gonna be hard to crack the top 10 at this point if
Yeah.
that's gonna be what we're gonna put at 10. I would put this, and this might surprise you.
Okay.
I would move it to 15.
15?
Behind Trish and Lita. And I'll tell you why. There is very little flaw with this match. I don't know if there's a misstep in the whole thing.
If there is, I didn't see it.
We don't see it.
Maybe the face buster,
Yeah, it was a
but even that looked like it was intentional.
right. And when you look at our list, there's not a lot. Not all these matches are crystal clean. You know, and not you know, when we talk about perfection, we've only talked about that in a small handful of matches.
Well, the only match I can remember being flawless was our number one, and
Right.
that's the reason why I'm like, hour and 6 minutes and you don't make a single mistake.
Exactly.
That's impossible.
But I think for me, it's 22 minutes and it's wonderful and it's fantastic and it's between two of the greatest ever. But I think it's a phenomenal story. But outside of Chris Jericho, I don't. This feels very weird for me because, like, with Shawn Michaels being in the match, it almost automatically makes me go, "What's the limit? The sky. There's no limit here. Put it as high as we want." But I just think that it's great, but it doesn't stand out to me in the ways that some of these other ones do and will.
I'm happy you mentioned that because when I was doing my research, and like I said, I don't know if it's just because I've seen this match so many times.
Right.
When I was doing my research, I remember thinking, I didn't enjoy that match as much as I thought I would. And I kind of sat there and I was sitting at my desk and I was going, well, I've seen this match. Of all the matches we have on our list, I've probably seen this one the most. And I think just because I've seen it so many times, I know nothing's going to surprise me except for the jump scare, super kick. I forgot about that.
Well, no, Paul, I think you bring up a really good point. Rewatchability is how many times can I watch this match over and over again throughout the rest of my life without getting bored? And I think
not
that's
to say I got bored.
No, but understanding what you mean by that.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it doesn't hit as hard. So what is I don't know that this match has the rewatchability factor that a Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard, that maybe a Nakamura and Ibushi, or even that the triple threat at WrestleMania 32.
Yeah.
I get it. I can totally see that. So I guess the question for me then, if I'm doing the crawl down using that scale, does it go above Trish and Lita?
I don't think so.
It's tough. I mean, this could be the one that splits those two up, right?
It could be.
They've been stuck together for a while. This could be the one that does it. I do think that it's two incredible characters, and they put on a great match. But I don't even know if it's the best match they put on together. Because their ladder match,
I think their ladder match might
No
edge it out.
Mercy,
The one that gave Shawn the lazy eye.
yeah, is another great story, and one that we might see somewhere down the line.
I'm confident we'll be sitting at this table talking about that match at a later date.
Yeah. So I love the moment after the match. Like, that's what I remember the most about this match. Probably is the Chris Jericho turn. And I think I've said this before. And I'm trying to think what match it was that I said it for. But there was something. Oh, remember when we did Flair and Steamboat? I had to cancel the Terry Funk part out of my mind because I hated it. And if I remembered,
I love that.
Right, I know you did, and we had that conversation then. But for me, I was like, I hated it. So
wanted to know if you were
and I love Terry Funk.
challenge you for that title. I think it's a very hard fight. Son of a bitch!
It's been too long since I've heard the Terry Funk, actually. So that was very, very
It's
worth
like
it.
the third time I've done it.
Really liked it. But if the moment that I'm taking away from this match is something that happened after the bell, then I think it does knock it down a little bit for me.
Honestly, after we talked about it, I'm like, yeah, that ending does leave a little bit to be desired. Not to say that it's not a good ending. Part of me is like, couldn't you just done a Sweet Chin Music?
Well, what you have to remember is this is one moment in time. That
True.
ending made total sense.
In the moment.
Oh, yeah, it
On
did.
the-
Absolutely.
On the card
Yeah.
that it was on. But what we're doing is we're putting this up against, at this moment, 27 of the greatest wrestling matches to ever occur.
Yeah.
So we have to be brutal here. And you know what, Spencer? I'm going to do you one better. I think Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker at No Way Out 2006, currently sitting at 15, is a better wrestling match than this match.
But I think this match tells a better story. That's why I sided.
So that's where we're
being
stuck.
above.
I'm kind of in a similar boat to you
Angle
on that
Undertaker.
one.
Because I think you're right. As a wrestling match, I do think Angle Taker is better.
That's like the purest form of storytelling.
It's incredible. But as two characters, two of the best to ever do it, on the grandest stage of them all, with a great story, with the way the story finishes after the match. That's what puts that one above Kurt Angle Undertaker for me. But I'm whatever.
I don't know. I'm with you on that one.
I get it. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think the story going into this is one that I always remember as being really compelling.
I don't
and
know.
That's not so much the feeling that I get for the Angle and Taker.
Well,
Yeah,
well
it's
hey,
drop in the bucket.
the Undertaker destroyed the ring to prove a point to Kurt Angle after he was drug out in a cart.
Let us not forget the buggy.
The cart.
But yeah, okay. 15
15.
Boy.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. How
As I
about
said
that?
before, now remember how I pointed out how it was Shawn's 4th appearance. It really is his 5th. So that would be 10 WrestleManias, 4 WrestleManias, 5th appearance, 15, 1, 5. Boom. Written in the stars.
Are you serious? You just made all that up.
Oh, the numbers? Oh, yeah. That's on the fly. Oh, the one I told earlier. Oh, no, I planned that one out. I'm like, wait a minute. 1, 10, 4, 10, 14, 14, 14 is 28. This is
Oh
episode
my
28.
gosh. It's so good. Hey, listen, we hope you enjoyed reliving WrestleMania 19, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels with us. I'd love to know, out of 28 matches, where does this one fall for you? I want to know, because we weren't really sure ourselves, but I think we settled in a really good spot.
I think so.
I feel pretty good
I
about
agree.
it. We're super excited. We have some really, really cool stuff coming up on the show. I'm not going to tell you about it yet, but there's going to be a couple of really good things that we'll be excited to throw your way out there. So don't forget to stay in touch with our Twitter at LastMatchCast, because you'll want to stay in tune with what we got going on.
Yeah, it sort of feels a little bit lonely only having 3 mics around here, doesn't it?
It does. I could see some growth. Just, occasionally. We'll see what happens. That sounds like I have a disease, and I don't mean it that way.
You might want to get that looked at.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how that feeling makes us work in the next couple of weeks. But regardless, we don't know what year we'll be in, what baseball field or cell phone carrier will be in.
Now
well.
it sounds like we have like some mental illness. What are you doing to us? It's like now we're like don't even know what year it is in the middle of a baseball field.
Is this what's the name of that movie? The Field of Dreams. That's the name of
If you
it.
build, they'll come?
Yeah, that's the one.
A man builds a baseball pitch in his garden for ghosts?
Until next time, as always, I'm Spencer.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Landon.
And this is Last Match Standing.